Hello, this video will discuss about the 12th house in Vedic astrology. In our previous videos, we did discuss about houses 1 through 11. In this video, we'll discuss about the 12th house, which will be the last in the series. So what does 12th house represent? Well, the 12th house in Vedic astrology is called the Vyaya Bhava. And Vyaya means expenditure. Bhava means house. So this is a house of expenditure. Or in other words, it's the house of loss. And as we discussed, the 11th house is the house of gains. This is right opposite to it. And this is the 12th house is the house of loss or expenses. So the 12th house is the last in the zodiac signs, and it's the final house which describes where our losses will go, what kind of expenditure we will be doing. Will it be a good expenditure or a bad expenditure, meaning which that where our energies or our money or our resources are going, is it going for a good cause or a bad cause? So in general, also the 12th house represents isolation and seclusion. And why does it represent seclusion? Is because the 12th house is a place where a person, after attaining all his material wealth and desires, finally comes to realize that, okay, this is it, and this is the time to surrender, this is the time to renounce, this is the time to let go. So it's basically the opposite of material gain, which was material loss. And also it can represent mental isolation, sometimes depression. Prisons are also represented through the 12th house, because imprisonment means isolation. Hospitals, they are also represented by the 12th house, because hospitals mean it is isolation from the society. So it's total isolation and a place where a person is cut off from the society. And loneliness, you can look at a chart and see how the 12th house is looking like, what planets are placed in it. Is the person lonely, or is the person having a sense of detachment? So all these representations are related to the 12th house. And as we know, the 12th house is one of the trick houses or dusthana houses, which have been described as not auspicious houses by the great sages of Vedic astrology. However, there is a silver lining. The good news is this is also a house of moksha, or liberation from the cycle of birth and deaths. In Buddhism, I think it's called nirvana. So, and that is the ultimate objective of a human or an individual, to get free from getting reborn again and again and going through the pains and the troubles and the struggles and get reborn again. So this is a good news about this house, that if this house is good or well placed, or there are benefic planets here, then you see an opportunity for liberation, final liberation, or moksha, like I said. So we know that this house obviously is opposite to materialism, and materialism will not lead you to liberation or moksha. Only when you let go, only when you surrender, only when you come to realize that, okay, all the material achievements are over and it's time to give up, is then when you go towards the final stage where you can think about liberation or nirvana or moksha. So this house is also related with people who are wandering, but they are not within society, and you can look at a chart and see what the 12th house speaks as in relation to people who wander, like monks who wander to long places, to faraway places. That also can be looked through the 12th house. So the 12th house definitely is not good from a material perspective. It is also not considered an auspicious house by the sages, but it is good in a way that, this is your final destination. So when we look at the planets which are placed in the 12th house, and we'll have videos where we will discuss different planets and their effects on the 12th house, because it's not possible to discuss that in this video itself. We will be able to determine where our energies and our material things which we own are going towards. So the 12th house also describes bed comforts. Now, a lot of people relate, or a lot of astrologers relate, bed comforts with sexual enjoyments. No, the 12th house is not about sexual enjoyments. So you may have read somewhere or seen videos that, okay, it's bed comforts and therefore it's about sexual enjoyments. No, it is about giving up. It is not about sexual enjoyments at all. It is about bed comforts because it is our capacity to meditate, because once we let go of our material possessions, we are able to meditate better, or when we surrender, we are able to meditate better and also sleep well. So sleep related to bed comforts is what the 12th house is all about, not about sexual enjoyments, because the 12th house is not about any kind of material enjoyments at all. So we did discuss about the 12th house as far as, living in faraway places, foreign countries, seclusion, surrender, moksha, sleep, meditation, so on and so forth. Now, on the physical front, what part of the body does the 12th house represent? And I'm not sure if we did a video on the part of bodies. No, we did not, and we will be doing a separate video of what zodiac sign rules what part of the body. But the 12th house rules the feet. And also we know that the 12th house is ruled by Jupiter, because the 12th zodiac is the zodiac sign of Pisces. So the natural ruler of the 12th house is Jupiter, just because the 12th house naturally is the zodiac sign of Pisces. Now let's see what the sages have said about the 12th house. Going to sage Parashara, which we have been discussing all through these videos. We have not gone into other sages, and we can have other videos what the other sages like Gemini or Bhrigu or Atri have said, but as a general discussion we have been using the teachings of sage Parashara. So let's see what sage Parashara says about the effects of the 12th house. Sage Parashara relates the 12th house directly to expenses, and whether the expenses are for good purposes or for bad purposes. So he says that in case the 12th house lord is sitting with a Benefic, or has any relationship with a Benefic, a natural Benefic, like a Venus or Jupiter, or if the 12th house lord be sitting in its own sign, or if the 12th house lord is exalted, then the person will have expenses on good purposes. And by good purposes, we can assume, well, good charities, not spending on things like alcohol or something which is inappropriate. It is going to be for good purposes, giving to society, spending on the family for good purposes, so on and so forth. And again, he says that one will have bed pleasures if moon happens to be the 12th lord. That's another thing which Sage Parashara says, that one will have bed pleasures. And this is where the bed pleasures thing came up when we discussed bed pleasures a little while ago. And this is exactly what Sage Parashara says here, that bed pleasures will be great if moon happens to be the 12th lord. And when does moon happen to be the 12th lord? Well, we know in the ascendant of Leo. So when we see a chart with Leo ascendant, we know that moon is the 12th house lord through its zodiac sign of Cancer. So Sage Parashara once again says that if moon happens to be 12th house lord, and the condition is, he has put, be exalted or be in its own sign, meaning if it's sitting in Cancer itself, or if it's in good houses like 5th, 9th, and 11th, which are Trikona houses, either in the Rashi chart, which the main chart, or in the Navansha, then the person will be pretty rich and will be having great bed pleasures. He'll have beautiful houses and beds to live in. So that is one particular combination which Sage Parashara has described related to the 12th house. Also, Sage Parashara has described that if the 12th house lord is sitting in the 6th house or the 8th house, or be in the Navansha of an enemy, meaning which in the D9 chart, if the 12th house lord is sitting in an enemy zodiac sign, and we've discussed about planetary friendships and enmities in our other videos, so you'll know what I mean when I say when it's the enemy's Navansha, or in the D9 chart, if we see that the 12th lord is sitting in an enemy zodiac sign. So again, I'll repeat about this combination. Sage Parashara says that if the 12th house lord is either in the D9 chart sitting in an enemy zodiac sign, which is called enemy's Navansha, or in the 6th house or the 8th house, or be debilitated, one will be very unhappy related to expenses. He'll have more expenses all the time, so he'll be troubled with expensive. So he'll be unhappy. In general, he will be unhappy. And similarly, he says that in case the 12th house lord is sitting in either an angle house, which is a Kendra house, or a trine house, the person will have a good house, a good bed, a good wife, not a lot of expenses, so on and so forth. So 12th house definitely is related to expenses on good accounts, and whether a person will have too much expenses which will bother him throughout his life, or whether he will have expenses on account of good reasons and will therefore be happy. Similarly, another combination which Sage Parashara has mentioned is that if Rahu is sitting in the 12th house along with Mars, Saturn, and Sun. So he's saying if all these four malefics are sitting in the 12th house, the person will go to hell. And I don't know if a lot of you people will believe if there's a hell or heaven, but according to the sages, there is. And this is what he has said. Any malefic influence on the 12th house, meaning, well, the next birth or the next place where a person goes to after his death will be difficult. And he is described as hell if all the four planets like Rahu, Mars, Saturn, and Sun are sitting in the 12th house. Now, another combination which Sage Parashara is saying about is that in case there is a Benefic sitting in the 12th house, and the 12th house Lord is either exalted or is conjunct or is aspected by a Benefic, then that person will attain nirvana or moksha or get liberated. So that's a very good combination. So here we are very clear about what the sages are saying. And even Bhrigu has said that, and we are not going to discuss about Bhrigu Sutras in this video, that any influence of a Benefic on the 12th house means that that person is either going to heaven or will get liberated or get moksha or whatever. So it's extremely good. So any influence of a Benefic on the 12th house is extremely, extremely good. Another combination which Sage Parashara has mentioned is that in case the 12th house, now we did discuss about the influence of Benefics on the 12th house. So this combination is about the influence of Malefics on 12th house. So Sage Parashara says that in this combination that in case the 12th Lord and the 12th house are influenced by Malefics or are aspected by either Malefics, either aspected or if Malefics are sitting there or the Malefics are influencing the 12th house, the person will wander from place to place, far away places. He will not be settled. He'll always be wandering. So we did discuss about wandering monks in our discussion a little while ago in this video. So you can relate that to this particular combination. If the 12th house Lord and the 12th house are influenced by malefics, then a person wanders from place to place, faraway places, maybe faraway countries, which is not good. So once again, the influence of benefics on the 12th house is extremely, extremely important. Also, Sage Parashara again says about this combination that in case the 12th Lord and the 12th houses are influenced by benefics, the person will move and travel, but he will not travel to places which are far away. He will not wander. He will move. So it'll be a movement from a place to another place, which will be not considered bad. It will be considered okay, and it'll be within the country, and it'll be within the place where he can approach his home easily. So it won't be wandering to faraway places. So he has made a slight difference here. Influence of malefics on the 12th house will make him wander long places, faraway places, different countries, and influence of benefics on the 12th Lord and the 12th house will make him okay. He'll move around, but he will move around either within his country or where he can approach his home easily. And in case this is another combination which Sage Parashara mentions about, that in case the 12th house is occupied by either Saturn or Mars, and these are two major malefics, we know that, and those planets or that house where these planets are sitting are not aspected by any benefics, then he will be earning through sinful measures So again, the 12th house influence of malefic planets is generally bad. So he is even included, although the 12th house relates to expenditure, in this particular teaching or combination which Sage Parashara has mentioned, he has included even earnings are going to be bad. So another combination which Sage Parashara mentions is that in case the Lord of the Ascendant is sitting in the 12th house and the 12th house is sitting in the Ascendant, which is a parivartan or an exchange of houses. Ascendant Lord sitting in the 12th house, 12th house Lord sitting in the Ascendant. And the 12th Lord, if it is sitting in the Ascendant with Venus. So again, I'll repeat the combination. Ascendant Lord sitting in the 12th house and the 12th house Lord sitting in the Ascendant along with Venus. This combination, if this combination is there, then the Sage Parashara has described that his expenses will be on account of religious reasons, which will be a good. Why? Because we know, we've already discussed, an influence on the 12th house by a Benefic will see his expenses on account of good reasons. And in this case, Sage Parashara is describing that in case the 12th Lord is sitting in the Ascendant with Venus and the Ascendant Lord is sitting in the 12th, then his expenses will be for religious reasons. So this describes the 12th house and the effects of the 12th house, and we'll be discussing in more details in our other videos as to what individual planets bring what effects to the 12th house. It's not possible to cover all those in this video, but that ends our series today, where we have discussed all the houses starting from the first house through the 12th house, and we will be taking up another topic in our next videos. Thank you.